You ever felt like you remember something and then found out later that it wasn't true?
It's called mescaline. It's the only way to fly.
What's up, ladies and germs? Welcome back to another edition of DJ Raby Show. I'm your host, Mad Dog. Today we're talking about the Mandela Effect. Fiona Broome popularized the name Mandela Effect in 2010 after she met with some people at a Dragon Con in 2009 to 2010 who were sure that Nelson Mandela died in the 1980s in prison.
This isn't real. What is real?
Even though she coined that phrase, the Mandela Effect, the idea that false memories have been around supersedes that whole memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the first place. This is called false memory. A false memory is a psychological phenomenon where a person recalls something and that did not happen, or something happened differently from the way it really happened. This phenomenon initially investigated by physiological pioneers such as Pierre Janet and Elizabeth Laudif. They have been doing this research since the 1970s. So this is way further back than the Mandela Effect was even popularized. So it's interesting, but it's definitely a topic that I want to talk about. So I'm probably going to do a couple videos about this. A lot of the stuff has to do with product placement and trying to confuse the masses and making us think that something is different than what we recall. Now, this thought was actually displayed in a movie as well. So it's not just this. And this movie took place way back in the day, and that movie was called 1984. In 1984, the movie was about Big Brother. So that even superseded the idea of Big Brother being the government watching over us. But they also, in that movie, which I thought was very interesting, touched on manipulation of the masses to help us think and remember a false memory. And if we weren't compliant with it, we were tortured. Now, you might not believe that that is the case, but think about it though. There are so many reports now that disprove the stuff that we learned in history books, everything from some spiritual beliefs to some historical things like involving how old humanity actually was. I'm going to be touching more on this subject. I'm very interested to see what people have to say about the Mandela Effect and if they have ever experienced anything like that too. Because that just proves to me that it's just not an isolated situation of people recalling something that may or may have not occurred in the 1980s. Like this video and subscribe to my page. Peace.